What's in the bag, Jane? Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the official Paradise podcast. And remember, you can stream seasons 1 and 2 of Paradise on Disney+. I'm your host, Ryan Michelle Bathay, but after that last episode, you probably may recognize me a little bit better as CIA Senior Officer Stacey Thomas. And I was on the show, which was awesome, which was great because I got to work with the most amazing actress and you were so generous and so just giving on set. So I am so happy to introduce the talented Nicole Brydon Bloom, who plays Jane. And she is here with us today to talk about your episode. I mean, that's what it is. It's entitled
Episode
Jane.
6.
It's Jane. And we learn more than we ever probably wanted to know about Jane and why you can never trust her gifts.
That is true. Watch out.
Nicole, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I really
I'm so happy to
appreciate
be
it.
here.
In this episode, I mean, we go back to your beginning.
I remember when Dan told me they were working on a backstory, and I was like, oh my God, that's so exciting. And then I tried to press him for details, but he wouldn't share. So I had to wait until I got the episode. But no, I mean, it's so fascinating. And it was really cool to see the young actress who plays young Jane and the baby version of me and my mom. You know, it was, very cool.
It's really cool. Like, and it also leaves us with more questions than
I think so.
answers about Jane, right? Like, as much as we want to know how did Jane get to be Jane, now we're like, but I need more. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you need, I feel like you need more too, because it's like, I have questions. What happened to Climby?
Where did Climby go?
Where did Climby go?
Climby's still with her.
I was gonna say, maybe that's the
I think
big
that's the
question.
voices that you were, helping Jane sort of quiet.
At least I thought I was.
Are you familiar with the Stargate Project?
No.
It was a CIA-funded initiative during the 1980s that investigated the potential of non-traditional techniques for intelligence gathering. The official program at the farm was terminated, but the techniques were not. Meditation is one of them. Quieting the noise. Quieting the voices inside your head. A mentor taught me, and I'd like to teach you, Jane. I think the techniques could help.
Yeah. It wasn't so successful ultimately, but she tried,
I so did try.
Yeah.
And I think I may have given you just tools to sharpen.
To cultivate it.
Right?
Yeah.
You think you're doing a good thing, and it's like, no, if you just had left her alone, maybe things would have ended up differently.
Maybe. Who knows?
What do you think is obviously we know what happens with your mom, but why do you think it makes Jane crave and not turn away from female empowerment and authority figures? Or is her relationship with Stacey what plants that seed?
There's an argument to be made that Jane was born this way. And the, messages that guy is getting, and he kind of, I initially was like, is Jane cursed? What happened here? But I think she was born sociopathic, psychopathic. I guess you're born a psychopath and then can have sociopathic traits.
Who knew?
Fun research. I think we all crave what we don't have in our childhood. So I think, in the episode we watched Jane watch Sinatra and her daughter and feel envious of that. So I'm sure growing up, she saw other little girls with their moms and craved that. And so, I think our relationship in the show is sort of the first mother figure, perhaps, that we see. And Jane's kind of obsessed with her, ultimately. It seems like a friendship, and then it becomes kind of a fixation. And I think the same thing's happening a little bit with Sinatra, too.
Your mom is the best. The best.
Yeah, she is.
It's cool we both see it,
Okay.
What do you think of Jane? What do you,
I love Jane.
Samesies.
Yeah.
I love my Jane too.
No, I love Jane. I think, first of all, it's really so unique to get to play a character like her. When I initially read for it, they didn't share the twist that was coming. So it was just sort of, an up-and-coming Secret Service agent who was perhaps a bit naive. And I was like, well, I feel like that, I can slot into pretty easily. And then in one of the callbacks, Dan shared, he was like, could you try this scene as if you're a psychopath? And I was like, sorry, what? And then my answer to that question was, well, if she is a psychopath, I don't think I would play it any differently. Like, I think she would know to play it this normal. And that's probably what got me the job. He was like, that's a crazy answer. But I think, I think she's someone who's been hurt in the past. I don't know how in touch she is with understanding her emotions or what she feels or the connections that she does make. Like, what happened with Billy in the first season, like clearly there was just a hard line that she was okay with killing someone she had been so close to. But then with these women, she's very attached. And yet at the end of season 1, we see her shoot Sinatra.
What the fuck did you do?
It was a nick.
Yeah.
I mean, she nicked and
I saved her.
and
Okay.
was pretty important.
We don't know what
artery.
Xavier was going to do.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly. So you saved her life.
Mm-hmm.
What's the shooting between mother-daughter
friends.
figures? No, I love that. I'm so glad you said that because I was going to ask you that. That's my favorite story when you told me that on set.
Oh, yeah.
About your audition. And I just thought that was so cool because I was like, first of all, way to stand your ground. And also, you're absolutely right. Like, no, you know what I mean? A psychopath that's gotten this far would know how to
like blend in and
Right.
Yeah.
Because you
have the correct affect and everything.
And you fooled absolutely everybody. What I love about season 2, though, is that now that we know, the audience can't be fooled anymore.
Right.
So there's a layer to your performance in season 2 where we see you checking in ways that we don't clock in season 1. But if we were to go back and watch season 1,
might see
we'd
that.
see it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But now that we've been clued into something, it's like this weird audience participation part of your performance.
And like wanting the other characters to discover it, right?
Yes,
as an audience member, hopefully you're, rooting for Xavier or Robinson to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Do you feel like one of the reasons why she not necessarily slips up, because I don't think that what happens with Robinson is a slip up. I just think it's, I think it's a matter of course that what happens in terms of her kind of cluing into you. But do you feel
I do think it's a slip up.
Okay, we'll call
a little
it a slip
bit.
up.
Yeah.
Do you feel emboldened by your win at the end of season 1?
Emboldened.
Meaning because at the end of season 1, you have the upper hand. Let's put it that way. You have the upper hand on the most powerful person.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah. And also no one to my knowledge is even aware that I'm connected to anything. So I think for sure there's probably some narcissistic traits in Jane too that thinks she's, invincible.
Right.
Chris and I were laughing, Robinson, in the scene in episode 3 where I get her in the chokehold and she goes to sleep. She was like, I really think my character would fight back. And I was like, well, then I think Jane would kill you. And we were like, oh. And then we were like, so we'll just do it. We'll do it how they wrote it. We'll leave it how it is. But it is interesting, right? Because I think Jane hasn't left anything, any loose ends. And then Robinson is one, technically, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think Jane knows that Robinson is getting do you think your spidey senses, because that's another part of these kinds of characters, right? Like they have a spidey sense.
I think that's why she frames her.
Yeah,
She's like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
got to get out of here. Yeah.
I could see that kind of brewing.
Percolating.
Percolating. And I was like, how's she going to get out of this? And
I know.
Like,
I know. But then I don't think she knows that Gabby is going to go see Robinson. I don't think she's leapt to that connection that's forming. So until sort of the end of episode 6, we don't know that Gabby knows what Jane has done.
What was it like? I feel like Jane revels. And this is one of the things that I loved about watching Jane in season 2. It feels like you were reveling in being the big bad.
Yeah, I think Jane definitely loves it.
Mhm.
And the additional attention from Sinatra is like, you know, exactly what Jane has been craving. So I think that feels really good for her. In terms of, yeah, it was so fun to play because I think season 1, we saw more of like sweet Jane and sort of goofy Jane, diligent Jane. And then suddenly in season 2, she kind of does have a little bit of an upper hand. So that was cool to play. And honestly, watching Julianne work was so just so incredible. She's such a talented actress. And so I was kind of like studying her for 2 reasons, you know? Like I think Jane is studying her, but then I also was like, wait, so what are you doing? And like, how does that work? So yeah, that was really fun to explore.
I do think that people love Jane in a way because you're so badass isn't the word, but you come out of nowhere. How can you not, if maybe not love, but how can you not be thoroughly titillated by a character like that?
I'm a little shook up. Did you hear about Radner? He was attacked. He's been in surgery for hours.
So does that mean you'll get the promotion?
What's in the bag, Jane?
You said Officer Radner only got the promotion because he had a dick. Well, that's not an issue anymore.
And I can't help but think, like, what do you think happens after that scene? Because we talked about that.
I know.
right?
And I was just wondering that. Like while we were talking, I was like, I don't think we ever circled back to it because it's like, okay, you know, the gift moment happens. You presumably freak out. Do I just bolt? Is that what that moment is? How is there no like team that comes after me from the CIA? I don't know. I'm curious. Or just Jane just like slips under the radar and is gone.
Yeah, but
know?
you slip under the radar and you're gone. But then how do I wonder if we're going to find out how you get on Sinatra's radar. Like, we
That's what
find
I
out with
wanna
Billy,
know.
right? Like, how do you even...
How did I end up on her sort of list of
Right.
assassins, essentially?
Right,
Yeah.
because the way that it's set up right now, Billy, we in his backstory, we find out that he's, you know, some sort of dark web, underground, you know, kind of like in the movies, right? Where it's like, you know, if you want something done, you call Johnny Two Toes,
You
right?
call
You know what I
Billy.
mean?
Yeah.
call Billy Bass. And so we kind of see that, and we see his backstory where he's been this, you know, troubled kid, which does actually have a lot in common, which would explain probably
The connection, the
connection,
short-lived
the short-
connection. Yeah.
Thanks to you.
Poor
But that's a whole
Billy.
nother. We won't talk about that. But it's so interesting because we then can see the leaps, right? How he gets from one to the other to the other. But there's like this big black hole.
Right. Yeah,
where
there's
it's
still a
like-
lot unanswered about Jane, I think.
Right.
Would love to know more.
I wonder.
Because I have my own thoughts, but it's also it's so interesting when the writers bring something to the table and I get to read it and I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Or like I have follow-up questions or, whatever. So yeah, I'm curious what their plan is.
I know, it's fascinating because I also wonder what was the length of time between what we saw at the end of our episode 206. I should say your episode. I just was.
It's
there.
ours, our episode.
Okay, thanks. But at the end of 206 and the beginning of what we see in season 1 with the end of the world. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a very interesting question to me. It's like,
How
is
much
it
time
10
has
years?
passed?
6 years? Is it 5 years? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because that's when you're dealing with an apocalypse. It's
Right.
important. Like that time and the tracking of time is important. So
Yeah.
I'm curious. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I don't know. I would imagine it's not too far off. So yeah, I'm curious how maybe Sam had a contact at the CIA and here's my name through that, and then they're connected. I'm making that up. I have no idea.
No, it's fascinating how you end up there and how you end up with. I mean, I hope we find out. Just because I'm so invested now.
I know. Me too. I would love to find
I'm
out.
invested in your story, and I do wonder sometimes when Jane does what she does. We have seen that she likes to maim.
That's true. That's true.
She likes to make people see the light, but don't actually go to the light. You know what I mean?
Just know that I could take the light away if I really wanted to.
Right. So as he's laying there, he's like, yeah, she didn't quite get still, she could have shot me in the, okay, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We don't know. What do you want for Jane?
Well, what made this season fun was just getting to work with more of the cast, because I was it was me and John last year, which was amazing in season 1, for the most part. And then season 2, I got to work with you and with Julianne a bit more and Sarah, and that's been really fun. So I think exploring Jane's relationships with these different characters is going to be really interesting. I don't want to give anything away.
I know. I will thank you. I promise. I promise.
Yeah.
I promise. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not my goal. My goal is not to entrap you. Although I cannot wait, and I want to know. I mean, the world is gonna watch season 2, and it's going to be like I keep saying, it's filled with so much stuff.
Yeah.
We have a whole episode dedicated to Jane, and we
know.
get so much information.
Well, even episodes 1 and 2 are just like a complete departure from the bunker that we've come to know. So even that is like so fascinating to see all of these different pockets of life happening.
Right. Thank you for coming here
Of
today
course.
and letting us relive our fun times. Next up, we have we've got your girl Sarah Shahi's coming up. So
Hello.
Gabriella Torabi. So
Amazing.
just
Yeah.
letting you know.
I'll keep my distance.
Yes, keep your distance.
She went home for the evening. I'm not here for her. I'm here for you. For me? I know what you did. The Baines, Robinson, the Pace. If you know what I did, then you know what I'm capable of. I did her bidding myself for a while. It doesn't end well. It's different with us. I don't think you're understanding me. She's up to something. And I'm gonna figure out what it is. I'm coming for her. If you come for her, you come through me.
Well, coming direct from the living rooms of Sarah Shahi, I know we're here to talk about episode 206 with Sarah Shahi, aka Dr. Gabriella Torabi. Thank you so much for joining us via Disney technology. You're the only other person who's done this other than Dan, so that puts you in really, really, really solid company. So
I'll take that. That's good company.
How did you come to this universe? How did you come to the Paradise world? I mean, were you familiar with Dan's work? I mean, most people are in our industry. Did you know, what did you know about the character? Was it one of those things where when you get the script or you don't get the script, but you get the sides and they don't make any sense and you just have to sort of like how was, or did you not audition? Maybe they just called you up and they were like, hey girl.
Yeah. No, this was probably my first in-person audition since COVID. And I was incredibly nervous. I remember when I first became aware of Dan's work, it was during This Is Us. And I wrote a letter to him. I wrote an email, however many years ago, This Is Us, the first season. And I felt so seen through his words. I was going through a lot in my personal life at the time. My first dark night of the soul, I've had a few. And I just felt so seen in a way that no other show had made me feel seen. And I remember writing him this email saying how much I appreciated his words and acknowledged and had so much gratitude for those voices echoing back to me some of the things that I felt like I was going through and I was alone in. And that if there was any way that I could even just organize his sock drawer or I could get like coffee for anybody on set, that I just really needed to be a part of that storytelling somehow. I didn't do that. I didn't organize his sock drawer and I didn't bring anybody coffee. I got a role, but here's what happened is about 6 months after that, I got offered a small role in this show called Pitch, which was another one of his shows
Yes,
that I think he
yes. Mm-hmm.
right he did right after that. And I said yes because I wanted to meet him. I was like, oh, this is the same guy. Maybe I'll meet him. Yes, let's do this part. I never met him. And then circle to however many years later this now is, when I got the audition, I got the first 3 scripts. I didn't or first 2, I can't remember. I didn't understand anything. I was like, I read it. I read it the first time. I read it the second time. I think by the third time, it was about as clear as mud.
Oh,
And I was like, I don't understand. Um, but it's the guys from This Is Us. So maybe finally I will meet him. So, but I will say I always understood Gabriella. I always, even though I didn't quite understand the world, there was something about her earnestness that always jumped through the page and is a large portion of who I am and how I kind of operate. So I was always able to see that. So yeah, so I went in. I was shaking. I was so nervous because, like I said, it was my first audition back, from COVID. Like everything else I had done was over Zoom,
Right,
So
right,
this
of
was my
course.
first in person. And then the next time that they wanted me to come back in was to read with Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the same day that his Oscar nomination came out. So he was riding
He was
high,
having a good
right?
day. That
He
was
was
a good
riding
day.
high. Yeah. And he was very gracious. And I remember, I think, meeting you both, or at least meeting him. I really can't remember, but he shared the story about you. And this was the last time I had seen him until I saw him in the audition, was that we're both home birthers. So I had all 3 of my kids at home and you had yours at home. And so that was a connecting point that I always remembered, about him and you and who you two are as a family and as a couple.
Her character seems to be profoundly shaped by Sinatra and what Sinatra needs in those moments. And in my mind, there's a pre-Sinatra and a post-Sinatra, right? Like, I don't believe she went to school for disaster readiness, empathetic, therapist. Like, I don't even know that that's a thing. But it feels like you were one thing in your career and your life, and then this grief-stricken, broken human being walks in and just happens to have more resources than anyone.
Yeah.
And it's like again, like this living, pulsing thing. It puts you on your next unforeseeable journey. So who was she before Sinatra? And then what would you describe her role as professionally, or how she sees her professional self post Sinatra and in this, because you seem to be the only one with a real job. You and maybe like a few waitresses here and like, you know what I mean? Like you seem to be the only one with a real job. And, so talk me through that pre and post Sinatra moment.
Well, I spent a lot of time talking to Dan about who Gabriella is. And, I find when you have a character who's light, they can only be as light as they are dark. Not to sound so esoteric about things, and for me, the light is boring to play. I'm bored. I like to find the cracks in the veneer and I look for the darkness. And for me, that's a more interesting place to start off from, and then let the light sort of shine through the cracks. With Gabby, I kept telling Dan, especially in that first season, I felt like her motives were always so unclear, right? Like I felt like she was straddling the line between both good and bad, and who is she? And I always talked to Dan about, when does she become the mustache twirling villain? Like when does that come out? And he's like, it doesn't. She really is in this very dark world. She is the hope.
Yes.
So once I had that, I sort of dived into that a little bit more. And then we found out in season 2, that both of her parents died. She went into palliative care, and she really, the story that I kind of formed about her is she was somebody who at one point had so much darkness around her that she threw herself into this world of therapy and self-help and helping other people because that was the only thing that she could lean on to cope with the stuff that happened around her. So, the grief counseling and helping people, I do think she has a genuine passion for that. And that is who she was before she met Sinatra. And I think she's just had to play that role and then some, as we find out towards the end of season 1 that the monster Gabby's really good at finding, the humanity in the monsters.
Yes.
But this might have gone too far. Like this might be another level that she's not equipped to handle. So I don't know if she has to do a little bit more than just be the therapist post Sinatra.
Thank you for being such an amazing character that we root for.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sarah, you were just a delight, even over high-tech, flat-screen FaceTime. Thank you for jumping through all the extra hoops we made you jump through to make this happen today. And I know we haven't heard the last from our girl, Gabby. Next up, we're talking to 2 of the writers who helped Dan Fogelman bring this incredible world to life. So, stick around.
If anything happens to me, I want you to find her. Tell her our kids are in Colorado and that I came all the way here to find her. And that I made it. And you make sure that she's safe, okay? You make sure that she's taken care of. That's all I ever wanted to do. I'm sorry, Xavier.
Welcome back to the podcast, first of all, and I am very happy to introduce 2 very special people who are probably the most important people in my life because one of them gave me a job. And I have been also coached to say the following. I want to introduce you to Scott Weinger.
That's exactly right.
See, he told me to say that. And he wrote episode 203 this season. And Nadja Widitala, who did not give me into instructions on how to say your name other than just be fabulous about it.
You said
She's
it right.
Absolutely fabulous. And she wrote episode 206.
Starring yours.
I mean, I'm gonna say starring.
Yes,
You know, I was
girl.
in it.
Yeah, you were in it.
I was in it.
Stole the show. Stole it.
And I said all of that. The point is that you guys at home just watched it. You know the drill over here. Strap in. Let's get to it.
Let's get into it.
All right.
Okay. I have so many questions, but the first thing that I want to talk about is me.
Yes.
No, I'm really just kidding. Although before we get into it, I'm told, and I don't believe them. I think they're trying to set me up. I think everyone, and I just had this whole conversation about trusting people, right? Let me try to trust. I think they're setting
playing
me
a joke on you.
I think they are. Apparently, Scott Weinger is a former child star.
Yeah, I guess you could use those words.
See, they've already set me up. They were like, he was the biggest child star known to man. And so you're like, not really.
The king of Hollywood.
That's what they said you were. You were known as the little king of Hollywood.
That's really nice. That's nice. I don't know. I don't know if I would go that far, but I did that. I started acting when I was like 9 years old, and then came out to LA when I was like 13 and started working. So I'm like in the writer's room, I tell stories and everybody's like, how old are you? They're like,
He's also the voice of Aladdin. Are we skipping
I
over
know.
that?
I was going to get to that. When they told me all of these things, I was like, do you think he wants people to know? People are like, that was in my former life. Please don't talk about it. But
it's cool. It's a fun, quirk of my weird life. And I'm very proud of it.
To take it back to this, to be so young, and I know you don't think you are, but you are,
Okay.
in this world that requires such gravitas, and I'm sure you're working with these people who have been doing this,
Yes,
a
it's really
little
long
bit longer
careers.
than you.
Yeah.
What is it like to step up and do that? And when I was with you on set, you had such command. You had such poise. You had such there was no imposter syndrome. You just felt very much like you belonged, and it was so. I mean, it stands up with all of the other I mean, we've got some incredible episodes, right?
Yeah.
And yours stands right up there with them. So let's talk about that part
Well,
of
thank
it.
you for saying that, first of all. I feel
I
imposter
can
syndrome
vouch for it, true.
when
by
I
the
go home. They think that these folks think I'm like the most confident person because I'm in the room. I'm like, I feel like I put it on, but I go home and I feel all those things still, you know? And so I feel like I'm empowered, though. I'm championed. If it wasn't for the people around me, it wasn't for Dan Fogelman, for John Hoberg, for Scott Weinger, you know, here, like uplifting me, I feel blessed, honestly, that I'm championed and empowered to be able to do my best work, whether it's on set or in the writer's room.
Okay, wow. Well, I mean, what a episode to have on a show like this, you know?
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about why we end up with a backstory for Jane.
This character like emerged as one of the more interesting, cool, and terrifying characters on the show.
For sure. I feel like we knew we wanted to tell a Jane backstory even before the writer's room even started. I feel
Yeah.
like when season 1 was airing, we knew we wanted to tell the we origin story. That's really
Yes.
what it is.
Really?
It was like the origin story of the we. Because there was 2 questions people had was, why is she so obsessed with this we?
Good. Yes.
That was
because
one.
Okay, well, hold on. I'm pause there. Just because we have to do this. Why is she so obsessed with the we? Do we remember at the end of season 1, one of the reasons why, like when she shoots Sinatra, doesn't she say in that moment, like there's some
You should have
moment-
just given me the we.
Yeah, you should have just given me the
Yes.
we, which is a huge thing to say in such a huge moment,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
There's another thing that she says that we for sure wanted to answer in this episode, which is, you're no use to me dead. She tells Sinatra that.
She does.
And so people are like, what does she mean by that? You're no use to me dead. Like, what are her ulterior motives? So those were 2 questions that I feel like 206 answered.
But you're no use to me if you're dead. Long recovery ahead of you. Probably should have just let me have the we.
So that was the genesis of 206, was needing to answer these questions. And also, what can you tell us about the little things that you sprinkle in there in terms of, because I feel like 206 is one of the first ones that starts to veer into this kind of a little bit more, right? Okay, so let me take it back. Episode 1, season 1, we realized very quickly that we've come unmoored from the world. But in season 2, we start to see these little moments where, I hate to even use sci-fi, but we start to feel we're even more untethered from reality than we thought we were. And I feel like 206 is a real, not necessarily the beginning, but the grounding of that in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. And am I right? Just tell me I'm right, first of all.
You're right. You're always
good.
right.
You are so
Yay.
right.
Yeah,
Mhm. Thank you guys.
absolutely.
Oh, you guys can come back. But also, like, talk us through like what we as the audience members are supposed to take from that.
Yes, for sure. I mean, the episode opens with kind of like a really insane scene. It's somewhat of a prophecy. We don't really get a lot of answers to why that Circuit City guy does what he does.
Very cute baby, little girl. Yes. When was she born? Just the other day? Was the baby born on June 6th at 12:01 a.m.? The girl.
What?
Sir, please. It's her, isn't it? Holy shit, it's her. Listen to me. She's a killer. Security! No, but she will be, but she can be stopped. She can be stopped when it matters. Security! I have a message for that baby. I have a message for that little girl. She can be stopped!
And we definitely get more, I would say that we take a big leap into more sci-fi in that episode.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like
Was
a
that
no turning back.
purposeful? Knowing what you guys have to do, or
Yeah, it definitely was. It's like kind of teasing a little bit where we're headed, in a way that like poses more questions than answers, which is a very Dan Fogelman thing to do, is to answer some questions but also ask them as well. I think that if people are paying attention to that scene, there's some Easter eggs, there's some clues in there that really like will pay off later if people are paying attention to what's on the screen and all that stuff.
And it was really fun because we had been talking about a Jane backstory for a long time. And, you know, her whole history is like, what was she? Was she CIA? Was she a professional killer?
Wasn't she an alien at some point? She was like an alien. She was a Russian spy. Like, we had them time of our lives.
We
with
really
that.
did.
Really?
We just cracked it open and we just like all ideas were welcome with this character because we love the actor and we love the character and we were just like, how far can we take this? And I think sort of dovetailing it with the sci-fi of episode 6. You know, her backstory with the sci-fi, I just think it just came out great. It's really entertaining, and of course, Nadra did an amazing job.
I want to ask before I forget because I'll be so mad at myself. Climby.
So Climby, I mean, I don't know if he'll get mad if I say this, but John
I get
is
in
John
trouble.
Hoberg's imaginary friend. Right?
Is it John's
John's
or
or
is it John's wife, Kat's
okay.
imaginary?
It's Kat's, maybe Kat's imaginary friend.
Yeah, we might get in big trouble for this.
Uh-oh.
But
We can edit it out.
well,
We can edit
No,
it
yeah,
out.
put
the
it
funny
in.
thing is, it's one of those things where we say, oh, she has an imaginary friend.
And it's Climby. So Climby.
Yeah, Climby. But then she pronounced it
She
in the
pronounced
show
it Climby, and that
She
was
does.
even more creepy. So we were like, say Climby.
Climby,
Because we
yeah.
were like climbing. Like,
Yes,
it's like really-
yes.
Yes. So it's one of theirs. I think maybe you're right. It's Kat's imaginary friend.
Okay.
That we put in there.
Well, you know what'll happen sometimes in the room? Someone will like pitch something like, oh, so when I was a kid, I had this imaginary friend, Climby or whatever. And then that's just a temporary placeholder. You assume you'll replace it with a not personal name, and then you don't.
Yeah.
So sometimes things.
There's a lot of personal stuff in this episode, but I'm not going to
won't
say
tell us what
nothing.
it
No,
is?
I will not. I will not.
Okay. That's fair. Okay. Do you guys then like kind of like get assigned characters or do they kind of organically become yours? Like I kind of feel like Billy Pace may be your guy now because you did the 203 where he
that's
comes
interesting.
back.
It's kind of random.
Yeah, I think I got lucky with
Because
that.
at one point you were writing the Jane backstory. You were like writing
Yeah,
we were switching episodes. Like 3 was supposed to be 6, and 6 was supposed to be 3.
things move around.
Things
a
move
lot
around all
over
the time, so you
course.
never really know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true because in season 2 and episode 3, which used to be episode 4, there was a whole Jane professional killer backstory, and then it sort of went away, but we didn't want to let it go, and then for Nadra's episode, she ran with it in this new version, and it just came out so cool.
Yeah, which was like a little tough to tell a backstory when there's 2 present stories, one in paradise and then one in the outside world that's completely different, because this is also the episode where, you know, we find Terry. Xavier finds Terry, which we're like, oh yeah, that's also happening here, it's really big. But I don't want to jump ahead I didn't want to.
No. The only other question was, then how did you come up with the character that I end up playing in terms of Jane's story? Like, what was the genesis of that? And I think I know why she ultimately was there because obviously I had to figure it out for myself. But like, what was the thought process behind that character and the genesis of her for Jane?
Yeah, I think for Jane specifically, when she answers that question about why she kept Sinatra alive, and she basically says that I'm nothing without you, she's nothing without Sinatra. A lot of what we do is our flashback story will inform the present somehow. And so in that flashback story, Jane's relationship with Stacey Thomas is a really important and pivotal one. Because in that scene where you tell her that she's special.
Why did you help me? I mean, aside from all the girl power shit, there are other women in the program. Why me?
Because I think you're incredibly special, Jane. And I'm incredibly sad that no one has ever told you.
That's the first time she's really ever felt seen or heard. And you can see that, and that's her core wound.
I've come to feel a little bit protective of Jane. Isn't that weird?
It's
Yeah.
really weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
we
but
love
that's
Jane.
what's so great about the character. Like watching her learn how to meditate and then using her new powers for evil. It's so cool.
And how genius to for you guys all to come up collectively and you individually with I'm gonna give. It's so easy to have me be sit down, Jane. I'm gonna give you the hard
gritty, underbelly of how to do this. Look a man in his
Well, you
eye,
do that really
kill him.
well, too.
Oh, thanks.
I've been practicing. But but to give it, like, who would have thought that she was gonna roll out a yoga mat and be like, I'm gonna teach you how to, like, hopefully find yourself, And she's
it
like,
works.
and it works, but not in the way,
you want.
not in the way I want, not in the way I want.
You can teach a psychopath how to meditate, but
You can't make them drink.
yeah, exactly.
And on that note, well, I've said this before and I will say it again. Writers are some of my favorite people, and you guys are some of my favorite people. Child actors are some of my favorite people.
Thanks.
So you are clearly just like
I'm
one
the full
of my
package.
you are one of my infinity stones.
Well, it's an honor.
It truly is an honor for me as well. You guys are great. You guys are just, the work that you do, we thank, as a fan, I thank you. The season was incredible.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
This was
thanks for
awesome.
having us. We're
you.
really lucky, to get on a show like this as writers is a dream come true. It's just been an awesome ride.
Thank you, Scott and Nadra, for joining me. And thank you all for watching and listening. I will see you next week for episode 207 of the Official Paradise Podcast. Paradise, the official podcast, is now streaming.
And stream Paradise on Disney Plus.